Hey folks, we're going to continue working on our commissions this morning. We are working on Innoraven the Shattered, an adventure for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, created by Andy Oldgoat Headley and Brian Fallen Withered Holmes. We're going to get started here in just a few moments. So let me go through my intro. Let me check my signal, make sure I'm coming through clean. Go through my intro. Let me check my signal, make sure I'm coming through clean. Go through my intro. Let me check my signal, make sure I'm coming through clean. Go through my. There we go. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Baka baka baka. Baka baka. Let me punch some buttons here. We'll do my intro, and then we'll get to work. All right, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplements. I illustrate them and publish them online. Today, we're focusing our attention on a Dungeons & Dragons adventure book cover that we have been commissioned to create. Innoraven the Shatterer is a massive 70-foot abyssal creation that tunnels through different planes. Like basically, it creates an area of effect plane shift. Or like an arcane gate that can cross dimensions, and the arrival space is destroyed. So it's a great abyss weapon. We have the joy of illustrating this creation. So I'm going to work on that for about an hour or so this morning. Let's see. Are we good to go? Yeah, it looks like we're good to go. Okay, cool. There, and I'm here 6 days a week doing artwork and book production. So you can follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney to get notifications of when I go live, if you're still on Twitter. Otherwise, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to support the channel. Helps promote growth and development of additional RPG supplements on YouTube. So thanks a lot for being here. We're just going to get to work. So we have the dressing for the page, which is the bottom framing, the byline, DM's Guild logo, and title card. We have the foreground here of forest and cottage being disrupted by the arrival of the planar portal. We have the portal itself with the shatter weapon coming through the dimensional portal, and then we have the far background, which is for the most part being removed from the art piece, but I want to include it anyway because that's what I like to do. So that's where we're going to start today. We're going to take some references here of work that I've done previously. Here's one of my pieces, and here's a reproduction I've made from one of Bob Ross's paintings that I generally like to use as my frame of reference. I don't see color, so people that don't see color can paint using digital tools, so I'll rely on the RGB scale up there in the corner over here. So when we're pulling references, we'll start with a blue sky, which we can get off of a color reference here, and then we're going to look at same color, come down here, get more rich, we'll pull that out of the way. We got our title card, which we're going to leave in place. We're just going to make a general backdrop for the coloring here. Since this is just line work, it shouldn't be too invasive, but I'm going to fade that down to very low sketch. And here, 100% opacity, color, looks good. Let's go. Start very simple. I'm going to work with a general bleed. Fading in. This gray tone that we have here at the top of the page. Oops. Here's our center point, right? So the blue is skewing light while the red is skewing dark, but the green is almost untouched. So this gray tone here and these two skews are evening out. So this blue is pretty much identical to this gray as far as value or richness of light and dark. That's what value means. How black or white is the pigment that you're using. So you'll see that term come up, and in production, you want to be thinking about your values a lot, because that's the contrast of the piece is what pulls the eye. And you can fake contrast with colors, but you still have to have a wide variance in value while you're using the colors to make so that the eye is pulling things properly. So I'm just doing a fade here. I'm gonna drop my opacity, the strength of my smudge brush, and turn it a little bit so it just fades in a little more. This is how it always starts. Very simple. Go back to our reference here. Let's grab a lighter tone. Make you sweat till you bleed. Drop that in there. Have that fade in. Let's take our dressing here, our frame. Yeah, I'll put frames at the bottom. Get rid of that. Title gets locked. Frame gets locked. Back to work. Good. Just fading that in. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Let's grab some more reference here, jump to our mountains, and grab let's grab that as our base color. Good. All right, now we're just blocking in the mountains. This in top side here, and then we'll fade it into the environment underneath. Let's get that in there like that. Then we pull down. That. And we fade. We pull across to smudge it in to the canvas. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Nice. Now we can make another layer. We'll grab our references again. And grab a highlight. That feels good. I'm going to switch tools. We're going to drop down and grab one of our chisels. One chisel. Let's push up the opacity a bit on there. Very good. Drop that there. Go back to here. Like that. I use the same chisel for my smudge brush. I'm going to push the strength up to 80 just because that's what feels right. Drop that down in size. Start chipping away at this. There. Cut that. Put it into a separate layer. Figure that out like that. A little bit to smudge it in. Drop it down like that. That's not going to get seen in the big picture of things, so I don't have to worry about too much, but I want it to exist in case for some reason it pokes through. I want the language there for accountability. Yeah. All right, I'm happy with that. And we got our next layer. 100% opacity is pure smudge, so I can just drag these things across. That's a smudge. Like there's a paint and then there's a smudge. It just grabs it and it infinitely pulls it. There's no loss of information over time. The smudge brush, the way that smudge brushes work in general is that it takes the strength of the smudge depends on how much drag there is. Here, I'll show you. If we only have a 10% pull, when I drag this, you can't even see that I'm pulling anything. At say 50%, when I drag, there's a little bit of smudge, but not much. 80%, you're starting to get more smudge, but not a lot. But 100%, bam, infinite. So when you have little holes and pips and stuff, here I'll switch to, if I can put little pips in like this, little breaks. And then I take 100% opacity on a brush and I can jiggle it and pull it around. I can basically finger paint smudge this stuff into different shapes and geology and texture. So I can jiggle it sidewise like this to create little breaks, and then I can pull down the whole structure of it. And I can erase parts in here to create a little cast shadow. I can pull down again. Turn the brush sideways and pull out to change the language. Just causing vertical breaks in the face of the mountains here. Just to get some language about how it drifts down like that. Hey, timely timer. Take a sip of coffee. We got another hour or so. I'll do a little bit of cleanup in these gaps. I'm going to switch to the other smudge brush. I'm going to actually use 20% eraser here and fade these bits some. I'm going to take the smudge brush here and pull at this a bit. Back to our regular brush, 100%. There we go. Breaks in here. I'm gonna hit some highlights down here. Help make sure it keeps popping out in the light. Nice. I'm liking how that's looking. Work that in, smudging up. Put some more highlight down there like that, and I can smudge this in again by working vertically along the incline of the rock, the same direction as it slopes. Helps reinforce that angle. And it just builds shadow naturally into it by smudging into away from the highlighted portion. Make little steps like that. Yeah. Okay, just checking my shit. Everything is right as rain. Hey, Ornanico, how you doing, my guy? I'm gonna grab a lower color, a lower value over here. Start filling in this rock like that. There we go. I am thick. Blend that in, again using the inclines of the rock itself, using the same angles. Carve along like that. The Bob Ross technique that this developed off of, he has the knife the knife edge that he uses, and a light touch allows, like if there's a lot of paint glooped up here and he were to drag, it would just grab the top layer of that goop and then drop it down to the lower parts of the canvas that don't have any paint on them. But since there's no topography for a brush to grip in Photoshop, we have to fake the texturing with smudge, paint, and erase techniques working together, which is what I am in the process of doing here, is smudging and then erasing and then adding color back to it and then erasing some more. That. So I'm just kind of picking and choosing shapes that I see and just manually sculpting them instead of just letting the weight of the knife pull the paint across the canvas to be able to just naturally create little breaks in snow and rock surfaces as Bob Ross would do. But again, the human is a much more complicated machine with a lot more capability than Photoshop is ever going to be. So we just have to adapt to the principles and ideas that were presented in his works and learn how to translate them into the digital tools that we actually have available to us to be able to simulate similar results here, like that. Hey, Dex, what's up? Currently working on more animation modeling stuff. Good. The program enabled in some functions. Okay, right on, man. Yeah, you're just learning the skills. I admire your endeavors, sir. I was never able to unplug from painting long enough for me to learn 3D tools, and I just really have never had an interest in honestly pursuing it. So I certainly respect your endeavor. Let's go with backlist. Drop some chunks in there. Yeah. Dots like that. This is going to be super low. Raise that down a little bit, and then we're going to beep, 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 beep. Here. 0. We're going to erase away this edge here. And then we're going to erase away the edge here. And go back to that there. And then here. There we go. Very faded. This will be left. This will be right. I actually think I want to drop some of the lightning there like that. And come back over the top and highlight this again. That seems like fun. Oh, I like how that's turning out. Nice. There we go. Yeah, I'm good with that. So let's stitch that in, and then we'll go to the right hand side, and let's just work that in. And we're using these slopes here. You have these natural angles of the mountain surface. So we're just pushing down those angles to create those highlights and shadow spaces. We can blend that in. That, just have a really smooth, simple base. Here, and then we'll work that one in. Carve out a chunk of it. Hey, another 20 minutes. Keep it going. Angle slope over here. That's less intense, so we're going to use less highlight. Just have it fade in a little bit more into itself. And as we move further away towards the edges, the less intensity we're going to want to help drive contrast towards the middle of the page. You know what? I'm going to start over here on the left. I kind of like how that's looking. So I'm going to see what we can do just to duplicate that. Very simple approach and rebuild this thing from that perspective. I think I can expedite what we're attempting to do here. Push sideways a bit and then pull down. Cut across there to make some ridge and some diversity in the geology that we're working with here. There we go. Use that same angle that we have here. Cut across. Push that up. There. Smudge this in here. Yeah, I'm liking how that feels. I'll take my eraser with a low opacity, just fade that in a little bit more. That feels pretty good. Doopy doop. Supposed to not do that. Here. Now we're going to do another layer on top of that. Pulling out some of the highlights we created here, just using the under language to further the conversation. Keeping these same angles here as we're sketching in little, just some, honestly, just some volume. As I fade in, it loses its sharpness and it smudges into the base color that we're using for the mountain itself, which then we can go over with the highlight color again to help build up more shape and mass. And as we push that color back into the canvas, it creates depth. Smudge that in. Break that up a little bit. Ooh, that's neat. I like that. I'm going to merge these down. And play with this space inside of here. So you get this neat little crest that's going on here. So I'm going to break frame, push this down. Not too much. Now we're back to 100% opacity, 100% strength on our smudge brush to pull this paint around a little bit. Since it's a single layer, it's going to affect everything above the base color. There. Breaking that up a bit, creating little paths here through the stone. Things kind of naturally erode away inside of the surface. Create little breaks here and breaks here, like that. Little breaks, just little divots and chunks. There. Subtle. I'm happy with that. So we can go back over here to the right hand side and then make a new layer on top of that. First be again building this out here and here. There we go. Nice. Just let it slip in downhill until it fades out into the mass. Just like that. Break that up. Nice. There. I'm going to merge these two down again, so I can mess with all of that at once. And push that down again. Smudge it in by running perpendicular to the slope. That causes it to blend. And we can hit with an eraser to break it up a bit. smudge all that in. Not necessarily happy with where this is at currently. Erase all that, and then I'm going to drop that opacity, and we're going to paint over that again. So we get to a place where we're happy with it. And with the highlights here at the top. And then 30% smudge tool to pull it in. Work it into the canvas by smudging perpendicular to the slope. More paint. And smudge it down. And smudge across to blend it in. There. % eraser to poke some holes throughout here. Smudge, smudge. Merge that down. Find our little crevasses where we want to break the shape up a bit like that. Just get some more interesting texture again. It feels pretty good. I like that. More like that. Switch our brush. Blend that on in and down like that. That's a start. Let's get that blended into that base there so it fades out. There. Left, blend that in a little bit more down here. There, subtle, not overwhelming. Pretty happy with that. Now we'll do right, left. And backist. So I want to, kind of, yes. Let's go back to backist here. There, nice. Now, can I do the same thing here? Yes, I can. Nice. And then on the right hand side, we'll do just a little bit more dot like that as well. Fade that a bit. There we go. Almost done here. We'll move on to the hills. Cool, I'm down with that. Okay, cool. So let's stitch those up. We'll go with mountains. Sky. Hey, timely timer. Where are we at? 10:10. Cool. Just got a decent dollop of time left. Gonna fade that down a bit because I don't know where that's gonna end up landing. I don't know what kind of a background they're going, what kind of page dressing they're going to use for like a base color behind the title. But whatever it is, we can adapt the lighting of the sky to help blend in. If they want a hard frame breaking the image away from the dressing, we can do that. Or if they want to use either a white, like a higher value or a lower value for their framing, in either circumstance, I can adapt this this overall fade in the sky for one to the other. Right now I'm just working this in just to make it smooth. Doing some little crisscrossies here to help blend the texture a little bit, and then we can just go back and forth vertically to just work it into the canvas so it's smoother. Like that. Nice. Now we're going to do, just going to grab some poofy cloud type of business going on here. Just do a little bit of a bloop-a-doop like that, bloop bloop. I go what, around 70% opacity here, 60. Okay, 60 strength, smudge brush. Just doing little circles just to push up, get these lumps to become more like cloud floof. Just like that. And we want to blend it down underneath. That's kind of how clouds do. They're more defined on the top, and then they fade out into the atmosphere underneath. So we're just trying to go along with that same here. Just a lump, a lump, a lump. And we're doing little swishy circles are what we're doing here. Like little swishy circles like that. Back and forth, left to right. Just to bounce around a little bit and smudge it up. So when we drop in the, like this is all gonna get destroyed eventually. But I want it all in here for where it may poke through. There we go. And we fade out towards the edges. There. Clouds are kind of like mountains, like fluffy mountains. So you want to make sure that you're not completely mirroring, like just like extending the same ridges. See, I can have 1 ridge, 2 ridge, 3 ridge, 4 ridge, there you go. And so I want to make sure that the clouds are a bit different from the edges that are going on with the mountains here. And I also want to make sure that the clouds aren't messing with the contrast of the sky against the peaks, so that I can pull the mountains up a little, pull the clouds away from the mountains a bit, create a little bit more space in there, let them breathe. There. Let that do. Let that do. Man, not happy with that. Just gonna carve all that out and then go back to these mountains, these clouds here, and just build those out like that. Just let those fade out like that. There, now I can come back through here like this, build out another structure. Nope. Actually, cut this away. There. There we go. Nice. I'm pretty happy with that. I think I can fill this in a bit more here. Doesn't take a lot to make clouds. They have less structure and less logic to them, like mountains do. Fade that out. Whoops. Wrong way all day. There we go. almost there. I'm going to drop the the strength on the smudge brush down to what? Yeah, 40%. That feels about right. Just help blend in the bottom of this a little bit better. There we go. Nice. Very nice. So it's got the sky, we got the mountains, now we get to do the hills. Hills. Go back to our reference. We're going to keep using, we'll use that as our reference color for now. And the hills are done basically the same way as the mountains are done, just with less peakiness. That, and then I can take this smudge brush and go like to 60%, and then just start pulling again at the color to blend it down, using at first the same incline. Let's do this. Cool, we'll do that. So now we're going to have these all in separate layers. I'm going to push this color into the canvas so that we can use the atmospheric disturbance to add perspective to the depth of these shapes here. Like that. Just push those in. I'm going to take this whole stack here and push this up, and I'm going to actually skew the stack down just a touch so it levels off a bit more, and then raise them up a bit. That feels pretty good. There we go. Now we can continue working these into the canvas. I'm going to use a chisel here, erase at 100%, cut out top along here just to level it out a bit. There we go. Just like that. And then we can blend it down. Blend it in, and then we go against the slope to fade it even more. There we go. And we'll go to the next one, which is here. And we start blending this one in. Like that. And since we're having this be ahead of these faded hills back here, I want to keep this edge like that. I want to keep that there to help show the break in depth. But I can still work perpendicular to the angle of the slope, moving forward to keep that edge aligned, but to get the the mass of the land to blend into the, again, blending into the canvas. Working with the slope to pull it down, and then working perpendicular to the slope to blend it in. Just like that. Just like that. That feels pretty good. And now the next layer here, we're again I'm going to use a stronger smudge brush here. Again, we're going to keep this line to help distinguish hill, 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 and then another hill here. So we keep that line to define the different bumps along the way. We'll drop the opacity down so I have a smoother, gentler smudge. Work against the slope here to blend in. Go. Just blending these things together. See there, even though there's a break here, it just kind of melts away as we get further down towards the bottom here, which is kind of how you want hills to work. That's kind of what hills do. They bottom out into a valley and they kind of bleed out. Not quite done blending here, but we're close. There we go. There we go. Hey, 20-minute timer, thanks a lot. And now the frontest hill here, again, perpendicular to the slope. And then work with the slope. There we go. Left. Right. So let's do the same thing for the right. All right, so we'll do the same thing over here. Perpendicular to the slope, and then with the slope, perpendicular to the slope, with the slope. See, we got this natural like little rivulet thing that's happening here between these bumps, and that's how we have it sketched out here, that there's like this little pathway that kind of meanders through the valleys of these hills that are being created. That's this way that we're sculpting the hills with the fading here that fades into that. See, this hill here is overlapping the front of this hill, which is overlapping this hill. So you have this like this, I think corrugated effect is the word that we're looking for. I think corrugated, is that the right word? Well, now I'm just curious. Define corrugated. Shape with alternate ridges and grooves. Yeah, I was right. Alternating ridges and grooves. Perfect. I have vocabulary. I vocabulary good. Against the slope, and then with the slope, perpendicular to the slope. Just kind of fades in the mist. There we go. Nice. Here. Stronger, so working perpendicular to the slope, and then with the slope. Perpendicular to the slope, with the slope. This time I'm pulling up because it felt a little too dark. So I wanted to pull upwards so that the faded fog of the ground started obscuring higher up into the hill, like that. And then work again with the slope, again perpendicular to the slope, the blend, and then with the slope, the fade. And again here. So we got another little ridge and a little hills going on here further in the foreground. So I want to respect those, where those are spacing at, so we're stopping our hill descent here. And then perpendicular to the slope, that, and then working up to pull away from the mid-ground stuff that we're going to be working on with the angle of the slope, and then perpendicular to it. And by perpendicular, I mean, where's our vanishing point? Our vanishing point is like around here. So when I'm saying perpendicular, I'm saying perpendicular to the vanishing point, like that, which is why I'm not working like literally like this. I'm actually working at an acute angle of what this is. So you really got an angle like this is where I'm working, along like that. That to fade in a bit there. Where are we at? 1040. It's 1040 here in Seattle. bump that up just a touch. I want that to fade out into the distance because I don't. At a certain point, I don't want / need to be defining the topography. I want it to fade. It's going to get blocked off anyway. I mean, here's the midground. All that shit's going to get gone. And then we have the foreground, which is all the trees getting blasted out of the way by the portal opening up in the middle of the scene. So it's kind of taking a wrecking ball to Bob Ross's little serene, happy little setup here, which is perfect. So now we're going to go back to our reference. We're going to zoom back in and take a look at, this is the color that we were using. So let's see how that sits. This and put something like that. Then some of that in here like that. Some of this in here like that. Then like that. Then like that. There. There. There we go. And next one. Uh-oh. Here we go. Same techniques here, we're just using a highlight color to help break up how dark this is. It shouldn't be that dark, so we want to have a highlight over it to help reduce that contrast. It's too much contrast, it's too sharp, too stark of a contrast. So we got to break it up with some highlights to help fade it into the piece a little more naturally. here. And here. Good. There we go. Fade that in a bit by hitting it with the old little bit of an eraser to help take the edge off a little bit. There we go. Good. Then here. Break this up here, push that down. Using the slope and then break the perpendicular. Works with the highlights the exact same way as it does with the base, as intended. And down here we can smudge it all in so it starts to break down. You want more contrast at the top of the structure, and as it fades down, it loses structure. Assuming that you're looking top down, there are instances where you want more detail at the bottom, and then it fades out into homogeny at the top, and that is if they have like low cover clouds or smoke. A reason why you'd have at the ground, quote unquote ground level, having your point of your point of perspective to be really low slung. Then you'd want more detail at the base and fade out towards the top. But in a general landscape environment painting like this, you want dichotomy on top, or contrast top and then push down, because that's the way that atmosphere works. It's top down. There. There. We go here. Bit. There we go. Take that, blend that in. So this also can have that fade into homogeny down here. There we go. That. There. Now we'll do that on the other side. Smudge it a bit like that, and then again we pull down along the slope and then across to blend it in. It's the same thing as we've been doing for the past 20 minutes. But again, it's the highlights now instead of the actual mass. We got 1050. All right, we're almost out of time. Almost out of time for today. We're gonna drop the opacity on that just to make it pop out a bit. Good. Like that. Break that up. Cha-da-cha-da-cha-da-cha. There we go. Break that up a bit like that. All right. And the last ridge for today is right here. we go. All right, so that's where we're at for now. When we come back, we've got some forest to add in. So that's where we're going to go next time. We're just going to add in all this forest next time. And we'll also drop in the foreground like this. And then once we have, so next time we should have all of this forestry and scenery done. There's a title, there's a base plate like that. And then the last 2 sessions we'll spend specifically on cleaning up this weapon itself, causing like necrotic death radiance coming off of this and stuff, and modify the clouds and the skyline along here over this to get that to blend in properly. But we wanted to start with a normal environment that then gets fuckered up. So hey Dennis, sorry man, I missed you. Yeah, thanks. It's what we do. So I use Bob Ross techniques. I convert them into digital format, and then we just build. So cheers. Now, I don't see any color, so I grab color references to inform the decisions that we make. So when we come back, we'll be using this, like a lot of this texturing and this coloring in here for the forest that we do. Like this mid-ground here can use the same rough here and here that we have going on there. And then when we get to the foreground, we'll use again more dichotomy, stronger, darker highlight, darker shadows, brighter highlights. And then once we add in the dimensional rift and the abyssal weapon crawling through, we'll have a different type of terrain in the background. This is coming through like caverns of like the Underdark into top world reality, and then we'll have this tanky mech. We'll blend in the carapace and fleshiness of it to make it look like a blend of of metal machine and flesh. But the whole thing overall should look pretty. We got a little happy little cottage here that's in the process of being destroyed in the process. Can't be a great Bob Ross painting without a happy little cabin. So that's where we're at for now. That's where we're going to continue next week. We'll drop in. We'll start dropping in tarmac or just like ground, and then we'll lay forest over it, and then we'll build our foreground, and then we'll drop this next. So next week we'll be building out all this sketch into trees, and then week. This is what, week 3. Then week 4, and then next week will be the rest of that 4, and then week 5 and 6 we'll be completing this weapon. We should be good to go from that point. So that's where we're at for now. We're just going to keep chugging on, but I'm done for the day. I'm here 6 days a week, Monday through Friday in the morning. I do a good morning coffee draw for about 100 minutes. We do Spelljammer, page art for ships, and fantasy combat in space. Monday and Thursday nights are cartography and creature token production for the Eberron adventure that we've been creating. Tuesday lunch stream is mechanic development, where we are actually writing up the mechanics and playtest content for the next book that's going to be coming down the pipe after these. And then again here on Saturday I do personal projects and commissions, and we're currently working on this commission for Andy, the Old Goat Heedley, and Brian Fallen Wyvern Holmes. So that's what we're doing. That's what we do. We'll be here again next week. We'll be back on Monday. So I'm done for the weekend. Spend time with the family. I'll be back bright and early Monday morning. If this stuff is cool to you, you want to see more stuff in the future, just see what we're talking about, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get more notifications about us being around. And I will see you guys on I'll see y'all on the other side. Thanks a lot for being here.